All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is April 9th, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan, lead instructor here at BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. And I'm getting a... Congrats to UCP. Thank you for sharing. One of our traders had a great day. Just want to share that. CP down there at the bottom. Way to go. All right, how I captured 3,100 today with a 36K account using only 10% of the accounts, 3,600. Let's take a look at the markets, see how we are ending up. Got a 10-minute rollover here, possibly. Now I'm just going to call it 10-minute consolidation into the close. 2-hour chart. Let's move all this out of the way. And let's turn the trading off. All right, so 10-minute bullish consolidation into the close. 2-hour chart, 2-hour uptrend. You got the sticks and the 3 riding up over the 8. 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. We've got on the daily chart, we've got higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the hooking 17 EMA. That is bullish, but still in a downtrend, okay, because they haven't made a higher high yet. Weekly chart, still bullish and in a downtrend, no higher high yet. Monthly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. They have not made a lower low. Okay, so let's take a look at QQQ on 10-minute chart. 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. You can see daylight between the 3 and the 8 on QQQ. Take a look at the 2-hour. 2-hour uptrend. Sticks in the 3 EMA. Riding up on top of a rising 8 EMA. That's bullish. And in an uptrend there on the 2-hour chart. Daily chart. We've got a higher low, a higher high. We closed over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Curious if they made a higher high. Not yet. Wait, yes. All right, we got a valley right here. So price action for QQQ, bullish. I can see a little wick coming up through the 17 right there. So you get a little valley right there. So there's a high. They made a higher high. So they're QQQ, bullish, and in an uptrend. Closing in the middle of quadrant 4. Again, here's the rally from April, up and over, bullish, and in an uptrend, closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Up here in the middle of quadrant 4, bullish and in an uptrend. Weekly candle, still bullish, but still in a downtrend until they take out that high up there. Okay, so they got a low, they made lower lows, so until they take out that that peak high right up there, they'll be in a downtrend. So there's QQQ, weekly chart. Monthly chart, you can see the origin of the move. April on up, they have not made lower lows, so they're still in an uptrend on the monthly chart for QQQ. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Peek at it on the daily chart. Okay, Diamond Dow, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the hooking 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Down here in quadrant 4, they have not made higher highs yet, okay? So they have not made a higher high. So they are still in a downtrend, but the good news is they're melting up or over to the right. So Diamond Dow, you can see up here, I'll zoom out, origin of the move back here in April, all the way up here, all-time high. Bottom of quadrant 4, that's bullish, but still in a downtrend, and that's one of those dysfunctional downtrends that's moving up or moving to the right instead of moving down. So there's Diamond Dow. IWM is in an uptrend because they made a higher high. There's a high there, and they made a higher high, and they're in the middle of quadrant 4. And they made an outside day today. That's a higher high, lower low. Closing over all-time high anchored VWAP. middle of quadrant 4, that's bullish and in an uptrend for IWMs. Take a look at Stinker. All right, Stinker got a lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the hooking 17. Let's see where we are with this. All right, this is the April rally low. It also is the all-time low. This is the all-time high. This is the all-time, pink line is the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're going to take this out of here. We're not in the lower third. We're not in the upper third. We're in the middle. So we're neutral. We haven't made a higher high yet. Nope, not yet. Haven't made a higher high, so we're neutral and still in a downtrend. The good news, that downtrend is a dysfunctional downtrend in that in the last 5 days they've been moving up or over to the right. That's FNGU. Just want to visit SPY one more time, see if there's any chance they have an uptrend. Okay, we got a high here. What's this high? 683.36. 681.18. So no cigar. That was close. I don't think that makes it over the 17. So, all right. So still in a downtrend there on SPY. Let's take a look at silver and gold. Okay, silver put in a inside day. That's higher low, lower high, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, up here in quadrant 3, but bottom of quadrant 3. All right, so it's neutral because it's not in the upper third, it's not in the lower third. Neutral, and there's a high, there's a higher high, and in an uptrend on silver, closing underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. So I'm going to pan out. This is the all-time high, and this is the origin of our rally all the way back here in 2022. All right, so let's take a look at gold. All right, so gold is I better measure it. 431.31, 432.90. All right, so higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17. Bottom of quadrant 4, that's going to be bullish. All right, and closing underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. And did they make a higher high? That's the high to beat right there. Let's find out here. That high is 440.19. That high is 440.91. So now it's in an uptrend. So gold, bullish, and in an uptrend. Silver, neutral, and in an uptrend. IWM, bullish, and in an uptrend. Gold, bullish, and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at USO. See what USO did. Higher low, higher high, closing under a bullish trap, almost a bearish cross, not quite. Under a bullish trap, over the rising 17 again, bottom of quadrant 4. That is bullish, still in an uptrend on USO. That is the 10-year high right there. Okay, for USO. Let's take a look at UNG, which never fails to disappoint us. And on UNG, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under this 12-month high anchored VWAP. Down here in the bottom of quadrant 1, that is the all-time low right there. And you can see price action making a low, making lower lows, so it's downtrend and bearish on UNG. Let's take a look at technicals, T2101. Market moved up, participation increased. That's a bullish sign. I like it. T2122. We got pushed out of the overbought zone. We spent the day in the buy zone. I'll take it. That's bullish. I love it. Okay, T2123. All right, so making highs here, making higher highs up over the hooking 200 SMA. That's where you want to be if you're a bull, is on the other side of that flat 200 or the hooking 200. So that is in an uptrend because they're making higher highs on T2123. But we still need to look at the big picture. That's the all-time high. This is the pullback low. We're still in the lower third. All right, so that's going to be bearish, but in an uptrend right there on T2123. Let's look at the 3-bar chart. 3-bar chart is, I'm going to pan way out so you can see. This is 2024. I'm going to pull up. Well, this is 2024 because this is beginning of 2025. That's an all-time high. Pull back to April. Okay, we had the April rally up, and we produced a new all-time high. See how it's higher than that one? Okay, new all-time high. Had a pullback to December, and again, we rallied up and made a new all-time high. So that's 2024. This is 2025. That'd be all-time high. This is 2026 all-time high. So here's price action up here. It's up in quadrant 4. Again, the origin of the rally starts here in April. We're bullish over here. Okay, now the 15 minutes in an uptrend. Okay, but the 3-bar chart, all right, has to take out a lower high, a higher high. Okay, so, or make a higher high. And that's the first high to come to, is the all-time high. So they got a big road ahead of them, all right? They are under the rising 200 SMA, but the good news is they're also rising up with it, all right? So that's bullish, but still stuck in a downtrend on T2123. Okay, FNGU, this is price action for today. Is we made a lower low here. Question is, did we make a higher high? There's a high. We made a higher high, and I can see a squeaker high at the end of the day right here. So that's uptrend coming into the close. We're on the top side of this flat 200. That's where you want to be if you're a bull. You're making an attack on the all-time high, that pink line, anchored VWAP right there. Let's slap the quad lines in there, see where we are. Okay, so we're neutral and in an uptrend. Okay, neutral and uptrend for FNGU. All right, heading back to the midpoint right here. Okay, get on this side, we could be bullish. You know, starting to get bullish, be bullish up here in the upper third, but this would be neutral, but it'd be on the bullish side of neutrality. Okay, so there's FNGU, a stinker. All right, so how we made money today. Today was not easy. Okay, today was not easy. Let's go and look at the plan for this morning, and let's see what we had. All right, so let's get the pre-market, post-market up there. Okay, so this is, so this, why does that look? Okay. There we go. All right, so prior day's price action. Big move up and consolidated into a bull flag. All right, and we just continued with the bull flag. And you can see right there, there was actually all of this pre-market activity, because you don't see it, was underneath the post-market activity. Okay, kind of leaving us bearish, a little bit of a bearish environment, but it was still all part of the bull flag. Now, what I wanted to do this morning was, I don't know if I can find it. It'll be under downloads. See what I can find here. Okay, here it is. So this was our plan this morning. It's coming. Okay, SPY produced, all right, the beginning of a bull flag over the all-time high anchored VWAP yesterday. Okay, remember it was making the bull flag. Remember I said we're going to trade the bull flag with a spread? Well, we did yesterday, made money with the spread. Okay, so now today, all right, I plan to wait and trade a 10-minute breakout of yesterday's range. Could go up, could go down. All right, we didn't know what was going to happen because, number one, we're bull flagging. But number two, geopolitics, you know, they were talking about, you know, rejecting the peace treaty or rejecting the peace offering, and a lot of that, which I thought would add a lot of bearish sentiment and cause price to roll over. So we didn't know which way it was going to go. So we were looking for a breakout of this green line right here. Okay, you notice here's a trend, all right, kind of like a bearish wedge or a wedge pennant right here. So it comes down, so we're looking for a breakout. So we came up here and we finally got the gap fill. Well, we came close to getting the gap fill. And then we finally got close again to getting the gap fill. And then when we finally nailed the gap fill, I had faith in the bulls. And from that point, I traded the uptrend, all right, all the way up to here. Okay, and even held on to it because we had, well, you can see we had a trend day almost in that 11, not quite 11 to noon, a 10-minute uptrend, but we had a late trend day. So I saw price holding up here into the close up there. So that's bullish, all right? So if you want a good picture of money, this is a beautiful picture of money. And let me show you why, all right? Because you've got a 10-minute uptrend with the sticks and the 3 and daylight between the 3 and the 8. That's the 3 EMA, that's the 8 EMA. White line is the 8 EMA right here, 8 exponential moving average. The yellow line is the 3 exponential moving average. And the candlesticks are riding the 3 up there. Okay, after we do the whole gap fill thing and we get on top of it. This is a 10-minute chart. This is my favorite chart. All right, 10-minute time frame. If you want the breakouts, that's the one I like because they tend to keep you in those breakouts longer. All right, so you just got to know when to quit, though. All right, but price action, you can see beautiful 10-minute uptrend where the 3's pointed up and the 8 is pointed up. Now this burnt orange, that's the VWAP line. Okay, now you can see the mouth or the distance or the mouth, either one, between the 8 EMA and the VWAP line. See how it grows wider and wider and wider and wider and wider right there. That right there is the picture of money. All right, because you've got this velocity and momentum, all right, here in the PPO, and you can see it on the 10-minute chart, and we were up over 0.06. That's the whole trick. Get up over 0.06. Okay, you got the breakout, and then what's this bar right here? Well, we'll just put the crosshairs, 0.07 right there. So there you go. That's it right there, and you can ride that up all the way up to the top up there. And our target today was 680 because that's where the call wall was, and then they moved the call wall once we got up there. But that's where the call wall was 680, and that was our target for the day on SPY. 680 plus or minus 50 cents based on the gamma exposure. So you can see we had a beautiful ride, nice rip from 675.85 area all the way on up to 680 and then some, all right? 680 and then some on SPY 10-minute chart, okay? So that's what I like to trade. That's what I call the picture of money. If you don't have a picture of money, take a picture of this. This is easy money, all right? This is where the easy money is made. When you see that 8 EMA and the VWAP line begin to grow wider and wider apart. The distance between them grows wider and wider. That's where the easy money is made, okay? When price chops back and forth, we had a chop day at the beginning. When price chops back and forth, that's no fun. That's where they chop up your account, and you're losing chunks of your account in the choppiness, okay? It's best just to put them all back in the bag and stick it in the war chest till you get the breakout. And remember, the instructions this morning were, let's move this down out of the way because that's not the one I'm looking for. How did we lose that one? Here we go. Back again. Here it comes. Okay, buy produced, bull flag, trade the 10-minute breakout of yesterday's range. Could go up, could go down. It went up. You saw the gap fill. And at first, I didn't think they were going to get it because they didn't get the gap fill. So I traded puts, but they couldn't make a lower low. So I had to shut down the puts, all right, or neutralize them. And then I saw price hooking back up to go visit the gap fill line one more time. Once I see the gap fill line getting attacked one more time right here, I'll put it on the 3-minute chart so you can see the attack, okay? See how we go up? We failed to do the gap fill. We go up. We failed to do the gap fill. All right, there's a double failure right there, so I'm going to get some puts because if they can't gap fill, that's a clue that the bears are in control, okay? Now, I'm looking for price to come down here and make a lower low, okay? This would be the low to beat right here. Okay, they couldn't get down there, failed to make the lower low, and you can see the 3 EMA hooking back up, and now they're making an attack on the VWAP line, on the gap fill line one more time. Once they get on top and hold that area, that's it. I know they're going higher, all right, because the bulls are in control. I can see on the 3-minute chart the ADMA and the VWAP line separating. I can see on the 5-minute chart the 8 EMA and the VWAP line separating. All right, that was it. That was game on right there for the calls on the SPY. So I made 3,100 on those calls today, and I had bought some puts yesterday for a ride lower based on the Iraqis saying they were not too pleased with the peace deal, and they were going to renege on it. So I bought puts. Of course, I'm underwater on those puts first thing this morning, so I got to neutralize them with, adding more and then selling, making it a bull put spread right here. All right, and you can see. Took a big hit. Took a hit on some calls, and I took a hit on those. So right there was the entry on the calls. Right there. Okay, right at like 11:15. All right, to go up all the way up here to 680. All right, any questions? If not, that's going to be it for me for today. I'll see you all tomorrow. We're bullish. The bulls are back. That's it. Nothing? All right. Everybody have a beautiful day.